Ignite. CEDH. Hey everyone, welcome back to Ignite CEDH. I'm Kevin.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Andrew.
We're trying to ignite the conversation in CEDH, get more people talking about it, and support the local and eventually broader tournament scenes. Yeah, you both played some interesting games over the week. Just want to give us a highlight from one of them? Andrew, you want to start?
Actually, it goes a lot with the draw meta. I was in a tournament, no proxies allowed, so I was playing Kinnan instead of Blue Farm.
Chimera, right?
Chimera,
Yeah.
yes. It was
Kitchener.
actually interesting because I had a Wandering Archaic on the table for a couple times, and people were casting crop rotation. There's a couple people getting Gaia's Cradles, and I was really wishing I could get a Gaia's Cradle of my own, but no proxies, didn't have it. So it was, but yeah. Um, I have a lot of cards anyways, so it wasn't that bad. But one of the games with a lot of the draws going around in the meta, there's a very good Yuriko player who frequents a lot of these tournaments. These guys know him. He goes to Orangeville with us, and he was there. And he got me down to 7 health. So I wasn't going to go see another turn. I was keeping a handful of interaction. I paying for this fish. And then there was a another player I was hoping to try and politic to wipe the Yurko player's board so we'd survive. He was on Stella, and he goes Jessica's Will, two counter spells, Final Fortune turn, and he's trying to win, right? So I'm like, I show the interaction to him. It's like I could stop you. Don't try it. Let's try and stop the Yurko. And he's like, he's dead to Yuriko too, so he goes for it. And then we see what flips. It's one of those untap, go through his deck and win. So Yuriko's is like, okay, I'm gonna lose now. I don't have any interaction. He tries to. I'm like, well, try to. We can get a draw. I'm happy with a draw, right? So he tries to kill. Just feed the fish because the other guy has a fish. This is a. I was trying to politic with the other guy to stay alive. He goes down to 1 life. I This was funny. Turn earlier, this is how bad I was trying to keep us in this flipping game. He turn before he tries Toxic Deluge, gets countered by Yuriko. On his turn, I ask him, "Do you have a tutor? Anything you can tutor?" And he's like, "Yeah," because he has no other board wipe than that Toxic Deluge. I show him an Endurance. So I'm like, "I'll put the Endurance in your deck, tutor for it again." Right? So he did that. Yuriko still has the counter spells, but that helps me draw my hand because I had nothing in the fish, right? So I'm hoping to get something. So I have a cannon out if I top deck a basalt or something. Well, it still never would have got me there. I didn't have the outlet. But anyways, back to the Final Fortune, right? Final Fortune turn. I'm talking to Yuriko. He's like, there's nothing in this whole deck I can get to kill this thing through two counter spells, right? One's a red blast, one's a fierce. So I think the only card he has the Ancient Pact. I'm like, Bowmasters. Bowmasters, I have these cards feed both of our fishes, just Bowmasters, and it's the only out in the whole deck because his Flusterstorm has been used. He pitched it to a Force of Will earlier to counter the Deluge.
Always
And
risky to pitch a counterspell to a force.
yeah, well, yeah, he didn't want that Deluge to go off because he would have lost it. I most
Yeah,
likely
oh, big
won
time,
that
yeah.
game. I would have, yeah. If we see another turn, I'm going to win this game because that fish draws me so many cards.
Yep.
But with 7 health, I'm not going to see it. So, anyways, he gets the Bowmaster, and that's like the politic of staying alive in there. Because he never thought of it. I tried a lot of angles because I was hoping to get the Stella player to just wipe Yuriko's board and survive.
So did you end up getting the draw?
We got the draw. And that's why I know a lot of people talk, oh, draws aren't good. We were playing the Japanese format where draws aren't like allowed. And, you know, I go into a game, everyone goes in the game, you should, with trying to win it.
Pretty much. There's some weird tournament shenanigans aside. You should go into every year wanting to win it. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're trying to win. And but if the game turns out, you know, the whole tournament's the plan, not just the one game. You want to win the tournament, not
Yeah,
one game.
oh,
So
big
if
time.
if you can take, you know, if you're sitting there with your hand and what the player at the boards is, you're looking at 0 points. I'll fight for that 1 point as hard as anything.
Yeah. No, that
So
makes
it's
a lot of
like,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah, and in my opinion, like, that's where I find the Japanese format a little lacking. Is like, for smaller tournaments, I find the Japanese format is quite sometimes atrocious. But when it comes to like bigger tournaments, I actually don't mind it as much because there's so many games that are drawing. It actually feels a lot overall better. But there's like 3 kind of total categories now. There's this Japanese format that is you start at 1,000 points, you bid X amount of points, usually around 7% of your points. Winner takes all. No winner, everybody loses points. There's the American format where win is 5 points, a draw is 1 point, and a loss is 0 points. But there's kind of like this in between the Japanese format where it's the same like base where you start at 1,000 points, you bid 7%, and if it is a draw, it kind of just gets redispersed equally to the opponents. So if you're going into the pod with the most amount of points, you will lose a little bit. If you're going in with the least amount of points, you're gaining a little bit in a draw. So it's kind of feels a lot less lethal for taking a draw, if that makes sense.
Big time, yeah. I'm a huge fan of that. I think we've talked about that at tournaments before when we've done the Japanese format. I help stores set up their tournaments, so I've gone in and seen like the different point distributions you can do, and I've noticed you can do Japanese with the point distribution, and I'm much more for that. We also play in the critical CEDH league. Uses that format, and it's much less punishing to have draws. That has specifically led to people, I think, overlooking for draws, if that makes sense. Like they're sometimes trying to push for a draw when they shouldn't.
I agree and disagree. Like, a draw is typically a draw is better than a loss.
A draw is better than a loss.
If you are sensing that you're not going to be able to push a win, or you're going to definitively lose, pushing a draw is typically, unfortunately, the right choice. And that's
fair,
because there's more than just the game you're playing. You're in a bigger picture. Right.
On the flip side, if I'm telling you that I don't have a way to win and I show you my hand, there's no way to win, and you're still pushing for the draw with the justification that I'm going to win the game, that's, for me, that's like a bridge too far. You get, like I was running a zombie in this league, and twice I had people push for draws when I was like ahead, but I'm a very creature-based strategy, a bowmasters, board wipe, cyclonic rift. There's a number of things that can set me back, and instead of trying to fight through and find that answer, I think I maybe had 1 or 2 cards in hand, let alone like I have decent board presence, but no, like I showed them my hand, no way to win, and they're still pushing for the draw.
I still am like in favor of the American format. I do think, yes, it kind of encourages draws, but it is still, it's less horrendous. It's like, I hate going into a tournament and just feeling shitty all day because I end up losing points for getting a draw. And like, the worst part is draws naturally happen because we are in a format of 4 players talking to each other with a time limit. Like, it is unfortunately an outcome that comes into our format.
Well, another game that ended in a draw is there was a cursed totem out from Italian player in that tournament that I was at. I had a Wandering Archaic. A TNT player copied my Wandering Archaic, so they had a Wandering Archaic as well. And there was like two Rhystic studies out. Like, there was no gateway that game was ending in anything other than... Oh, and I had a Trinisphere out as well. I should point out, there's a Trinisphere. So that game was like just going around like it was all the talking.
That was just not going to end.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to end. It was,
the outcome of that game is kind of just like, it's the best situation to be a draw because otherwise it's king making. The question really is, do you prefer king making or draws?
I will say I am pro draw. I want points to be awarded for draws. I'm okay with draws. I just think we push too quickly for draws sometimes. Yeah, so I don't think it's king making to counter the first win put in front of you.
I don't disagree with that. That's not what I'm trying to say.
If you can push for a draw on that, you push for a draw, but I think you have to react to wins as they're presented to you. And if someone, just because of the way turn order is, or because that's when they chose to go off or push, if that's when that happens, that's kind of like choose a better spot, or maybe you got unlucky with seed order. But that's just
Well,
that's the
sure,
that's how it
but
breaks
the argument can be also that the idea of pushing in the wrong spot is technically a king making action, right?
Well, pushing in the wrong
So
spot means you're giving up your chance to, and you're king. I guess king making somebody else who's.
yeah,
But
you're king making someone
king
else.
making
Is the
because you
argument.
pushed isn't king making in my opinion because you're trying to win.
It
You
it's
just chose a bad
which is
spot.
fair, but you're forcing your opponents to stop you, which is
Now, if I push and I know you have a counterspell and a lot of interaction, and then
yeah.
we just leave it for the third player, that's closer to king making. But still, you're coming back to choosing your spots. Sorry, I feel like I interrupted you there, Andrew.
No, it's all good. I like that. I was thinking back to a game Joe and I played in a tournament a while ago where you were on a Tully. I was on Blue Farm with a really bad hand. You were in last seat. It was your turn, and you could have done something like a Jessica's Will, I think, and I showed you a Force of Negation was the only counter magic I had. There was a Rogside player that had double tutored. So we
Yep.
knew on his turn he was going to go for the win, and I had no card draw on anything, and I offered you a draw. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, and in that case, it's like for me, I can Atali just pushes, right? Like I can push so much every single turn, pretty much. Like I you can run out of gas, but it's like it's really hard not to sometimes. And the biggest issue I have is it's so easy to get blown out. So I find myself asking a lot of the time, hey, I am going to push unless someone tells me not to or shows me why not to, because I don't want you guys to throw the game because I pushed, but I'm going to attempt to push. And like some people have different opinions on how to respond to that politicking.
I love that. That's one of my favorite things I used to do with Kinnan when I played it at Woodstock. I'd show people. I have a version of Kinnan that runs like freed from the real lines.
Yeah.
So I'd have a Birds of Paradise with Kinnan out, no counter magic backup, and I'd just show people freed from the real and say, "Can anyone stop this? Because if you can, I'm not going to try it. I'd rather you save the counter magic for Rodsai or something, right?"
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I can play Jessica's Will turn 2 into a Force of Negation, or I could play my Atali into a Mind Break Trap. Sure, people are going to love to Mind Break Trap an Atali flip. But it's also that fact where it's like, cool, now it's somebody else's turn next. Now we have no interaction. By pushing, I'm king making. If I don't ask, it's worse for me. I should ask, and if someone takes me up on the offer, I won't push. I will wait until a better opportunity, right? It is trying to find my ground. And now there's a definite argument is make me use it so I'm out of the game. Sure, that's a decent argument, but at the same time, you're kind of putting yourself in a bad position. It really depends on the position of that player. Like, if he has multiple pieces, then 100% blow me out. But if you have one piece and we are scared of somebody else, it's probably not. You probably better just showing me the piece, because I'm not going to tell people. I'm going to keep that quiet. I'm just going. You just kind of display that you do have a piece of interaction, but that people don't know what it is.
That's what I do all the time because I'd rather, like, if say I have 7 mana exactly, cost 3 for free for real, rather than use a free for real, eat someone's interaction. I'd rather just spin Kinnan, right, and present the
Yeah.
win. So I just ask that all the time. It's like before a win. In the worst case, it's like they keep their counterspell. They know, hey, that Bird's Paradise is a huge target, but it keeps me in the game. It keeps us playing, and I just flip. Who knows what I hit? That was one of my favorite things to do, to like not try to king make to keep the game going longer.
Yeah. In the end, I do want to try more like actual tournament setup with the Japanese redisbursement method. I'm excited to kind of see that more in a
I would love to see it in an actual
short
tournament.
term.
Yeah.
Short term environment instead of this like month long league. And kind of just see how that interacts, because it could be interesting.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, like, we're in a pretty good spot right now. Ontario is growing. We've increased the amount of tournaments that we've had in the last year by probably more than double each month. Almost every weekend, there's 1 to 2 tournaments running a weekend. This weekend, we actually have 2 tournaments going on. I think we're all kind of wanting to go to
Fantasy Forged is the name of the store. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all expecting to go to Fantasy Forge, which they are in preference to the Japanese format. They run a monthly 1K event, and we've all gone multiple times at this point, and we like the store. The format's not our preference, but it is still a very playable scene.
Big time, yeah.
Were you all planning on going?
I'm going, yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be my first time missing it. My brother's kids got sick. We were going to go to his place for Thanksgiving. He was sick, so he canceled it. I got my schedule freed up, so I went to Chimera. That's how I made it there. But it looks like, unless he moves it to Sunday Thanksgiving, I'm going to be going to Cordis is where he lives. So I've got it penciled in. Whenever the next Cordis tournament is, I'm going to go.
So you and I are likely going to go to Orangeville. I have a wedding on Friday to go to, so you'll see how I feel.
So that's a maybe.
It's a strong that I want to, but it's a maybe. Depends on how late it is, how hungover I am. It's very debatable.
Hey everyone, Kevin from the editing suite. We just got an update. I don't know, half an hour before I planned to finalize the editing. The Fantasy Forged Orangeville tournament is actually going to be on Sunday. There was a discrepancy on their website. The website had Sunday and Top Deck had Saturday, so they've updated it, so now it is also on Sunday. In terms of who's going where, I'm going to be, as you will soon find out, at Forbes Hobbies on Sunday, hosting a tournament there. Andrew will likely be going to Orangeville. It's just a lot closer for him, and we haven't heard from Joseph yet. Thanks, everyone, and back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
And then on Sunday, Kevin, you're hosting a tournament.
Yeah, so I kind of hinted at it earlier. I'm fairly involved in the Forbes Hobbies Magic community, and I rules advise their events, basically judging for people who don't have their judge cert. I try to help out when I can. It's a pretty tight-knit group, but I would like to grow. Part of growing Magic is also growing CEDH, and I'd love to grow CEDH, especially like within a 10-minute drive of me. It's always convenient to have a home tournament to go to. We're hosting a CEDH tournament at Forbes Hobbies in Cambridge, Ontario. It's a $40 entry, 28-person cap. All the entry goes back to store credit, and then it's divided between probably the top 4, depending on how many show up. And we're looking also at giving away a Alliance's Force of Will if the event caps. Doesn't look like it, but people are really bad at registering on Top Deck, so we'll see.
Yeah, if it's like a limited spot for a dual land, it will definitely people will register, but it's like these small tournaments for store credit, it's like first come, first serve the day of.
Yeah, last time we had, I think, 3 people signed up ahead of time, and 6 people showed up. We ended up playing basically 2 pods of 3, and then if you won that, you went into the finals, and then the last 4 played for spots in the finals. We kind of pieced it together. It wasn't great from a tournament bracket standpoint, but from a first CEDH dipping our toes, getting the community into it, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to plan on doing it, especially if I don't do Saturday.
Yeah, that's fair. You gotta balance your time. It is a 10 proxy limit, which is one of the downsides, but
my Kenriff is exactly 10 proxies.
Perfect. That's kind of where I try to keep mine, is like 8 or 9, so if I want to try a new card or 2, I can put one in. And that accounts for pretty much all the duels.
Why is it 10?
Store owner Jeremy wants to still encourage the sale of cards, which is how he makes money.
Which is fair, but I don't think proxies discourage this is our next topic.
This is a big topic in the community. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think proxies discourage card buying.
I think they absolutely do, though. For the average player, like we're pretty intense players, right? Like for
I agree and disagree. Like it discourages. I think it discourages big buys like the dual lands and Gaia's Cradles, Mox Diamonds, LEDs.
Yeah, big time.
Like
yeah.
Those are I strive to earn them mostly, which I believe both of you also strive to earn, and it's the small cards I still try to fill out my decks, and I feel once I get passionate for a deck, it's people buy their cards. Like the amount of people I play against that actually in a proxy tournament that actually have full built decks are very low. Like
You mean they're very high?
yeah, like there is a lot of people own their cards. Like it is not discouraging it. It's more it's I would argue in making it better because you're encouraging people to get into a format that they originally can't afford, which now they want to slowly build into, right? Like it's harder to save up for a full non-proxy CDH deck. We're talking thousands of dollars USD, and just the fact that it is a community-ran initiative in a sense has made it easier for all three of us to play the format that we are primarily playing right now, the most passionate we've been to play Magic, right? And that has made it more accessible. And none of us would have ever bought a dual land or a piece of reserve list if it wasn't for those proxy events. So it encouraged me to buy a Earthcraft or a Taiga or a Scrubland, right? Like those are encouragements because of the format.
Fair, but did you pay out of pocket or did you get store credit from what you won?
Store credit still buying.
The way a store would look at it, sometimes, I'm not going to say for all stores, but the way some stores look at it is they get tournament entry and then they use that, like people use that to buy cards. Basically turning tournament entry into selling cardboard, which is fine. They still move the cardboard, but it's better for them if you're buying the card with cash than store credit. Obviously, it's more cash in their pocket. So when I purchased my CDH deck, the bulk of my CDH stuff, I managed to get in when things were really low price. Like my deck has, the cards in my deck have, I mean, some of them fall off, you switch cards in your deck, whatever, but like the LED, the Mox Diamond, the Wheel of Fortune, all that stuff is like at least tripled in price since I bought it. And I'm not even, like, I didn't even get it at the bottom. There's people who just own this stuff from when it came out, right? Some stuff has gone down, my Force of Will has gone down in value, but overall, the deck portions that I own have gone up in value. I realize not everyone has it that lucky, and overall, I personally would like to see 100% proxy tournaments, but I understand a store wanting to incentivize people to spend more money.
So, I 100% get it from that point of view. I don't discourage that in a sense. I hate when stores take a stance of, well, Wizards say no. That's not a strong bone to stand on in a sense.
No, we just run on. None of our tournaments are sanctioned. Like the one we're running on Sunday isn't sanctioned. It's very clearly spelled out in the. I purposefully put it in the description. This is not a sanctioned Wizards tournament.
And I've read through the WPN contract, and there is a play test card ruling where you're allowed to play test cards in non-sanctioned events in the store. It is a okay thing in the Wizard standpoint, but it is that very like there's a difference between fake cards and proxy.
Yes, big time. To be clear, we are talking about play test cards, not proxy cards.
Yeah.
We're not talking about making fake cards. We're talking about like printing off a piece of paper and that.
So I have a Draenei Magistrate right here. It is a proxy. the reason why it's a proxy is there is a line of text that says proxy not for resale, and it has a fake back.
And I have those exact same cards. They're great. Yeah.
They're playtest cards. They're meant to be played. They're not meant to sell. And that's a big difference to the ruling. 100%, if someone's playing fake cards and trying to pass them as real cards, that is not good.
I've got a fun story with that. I have a snapback. Back when I built my Tim Necrom deck, I had a buddy, he ordered it offline. We all pitched in and for the shipping cost for those exact proxies that you have. Similar ones, right? I've got a Yu-Gi-Oh back. One of them was snapback. I didn't know it was like a 50-cent card. I have that. I just recently put it in my Blue Farm deck. And just because I had it, and I'm too lazy to click, I need to snap back to remember to get it at a store.
Yeah, I've proxied, like, I've paid for proxies for cheap decks just because I wanted to test the deck.
Yeah.
I'm not a person who likes to collect regular bulk cards. I'm more of like, I collect my CEDH cards. I have a binder that's just CEDH cards, and I have my 4 decks of cards. I have very little amount of cards after that.
Some of the cards, though, like that 50 cents, I think stores, you've got to incentivize sales because you want the stores to stay in business. You want them to keep having the tournaments.
And I encourage that, yeah. I want people to play with real cards. I play with my dual lands because I believe that they're meant to be played. I'm not buying the card as an investment. I'm buying the card as an investment to my soul.
See, and I see the tournament as an investment, where when I go to a tournament and I do well, I would rather sell the credit and get actual money so I can, like, balance out my budget a little more. We're also at different points in our financial journey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm a bit of a mix of that. I'm like you, Kevin. I like to sell my credit, like sell the cards after sometimes. But I also like to get the nice flooded strand and the nice so if there's a card
I'm trying to foil my Kenrith deck.
The thing I have some of the nice ones already too, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. So I have like the proxy basic Smothering Tithe, but I want the nice Smothering Tithe. So when that goes in, I'm going to use some of my tournament earnings to get the nice treatments. But if the basic treatments on cards, I kind of have some of them as proxy, so I'm not buying the basic nice card. I'm buying the special treatment one.
If you don't care about the versions, Kevin, I'll buy your Archivist of Bogmal trading you the normal one.
So we can talk about the disparity of value there.
Well, I will pay the difference. I don't care.
We'll talk about it.
I'm kidding.
But
it's all good. I didn't think you would actually consider it.
I'm still trying to move the the marsh flats that I bought.
You have a Dragon Scale foil.
Dragon Scale marsh flats, and it looks so nice. I'm a huge dragon fan. For anyone that doesn't know, love dragons, and it looks awesome. This thing looks freaking great. I might be able to grab it in a second, but in the end, I'd rather use it's recently spec'd up to like $375. I could rather use the $300 from that than have a nicer version in my deck.
I believe, Andrew, you had some questions for her.
Oh, yes. Kind of a bit of an overreaction segment here. Overreaction CDH. All right, so I've got my first question here. With the popularity of Ristic, Study, and Smothering Tithe, people tutoring for it, everyone's searching for it for their deck, right? They're trying to get one of those 2 cards out, or fish. But let's stick with Ristic, Study, and Smothering Tithe. Mirror Maid or Steel Enchantment, those 2 cards should be in every blue deck, one of them.
I strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really depends if you have a local meta versus just like if you're playing a generic online meta or if you're going to a big tournament. If you're playing a local meta and like a bunch of them are on blue and have Ristic, it's probably worth at least considering. The negative part is that sometimes that's a wasted slot.
Yeah. Here's my opinion. I play a 5-color deck. And using my spot for a card that has a statistical chance of being irrelevant is not worth a slot. Because I'm playing 5 colors. I could play literally any good card in my deck, including blue cards. And it is not worth a spot where I can just have a Steel Enchantment and this game has 0 enchantments in play, or 0 enchantments that I care about. Like, am I going steel enchantment and carpet of flowers? Probably not.
I'll play devil's advocate here. There's a lot of things in almost any CDH deck that you can pitch a card to. You got Chrome Mox, Force of Will, Force of Negation. Those might be the only 3 off the top, but they're not entirely useless. There's times in CDH tournaments where you'll end up with too many cards in hand.
There's still a statistical chance that it is stuck in your hand until you draw that 1 in 99.
Even if that's stuck in my hand, I never feel it as a dead card. I always run one of them in my deck, spoiler. It is never a dead card because I don't feel like I'm truly in that bad of a spot unless someone else has resolved one of those cards and is getting huge advantage. Or, like you said, it can be pitched to something. I just feel so safe with one of those in hand. But, yeah, okay. So we're divided.
I think in a smaller color pie deck, it's better, but at this point, it's hard to really be deterministic about it. It's also about playstyle, right? Like,
that's a good point.
If you're playing... I was on Turbo Kenrith for the last couple weeks, and I 100% don't have room for those mid-range game plans. Like, I struggle with putting a One Ring or a Smothering Tithe for... Rystic's just good. I'm not going to complain about Rystic. Rystic is stupid busted.
Good point for styles, though. I am much more of a mid-range, grinded out player for the most part. I'm not turbo. Okay.
What's up, Kev?
I think the one big thing you missed is that it's card disadvantage. It's like removal, like running enchantment removal, but you also get that thing back. So that's kind of the nice part about it.
Yeah. Here's the counter argument in a sense. Should people be tutoring as strong as they are for Rystics and Mystics? Like, are the people over tutoring for them?
Mystic, no. Rhystic, absolutely. Rhystic studies single-handedly wins games.
Sure, I don't disagree with that, but if I am looking at a demonic tutor in hand with 5 mana, am I going to get a Rhystic study or am I going to try to push a win? It really depends on timing, but most people say go get Rhystic.
But Rhystic sets you up better for a win later.
Sure.
Than any one counterspell you could get. Now, situation aside,
also...
if you just had a win attempt on the stack and they all fought over it and they're all empty-handed or they're low on resources, yeah, push the win. But that's where you got to read the situation. But it's also
people are using Rhystic as a cop-out to not get interaction.
As a reason not to get it. Like, I don't need to get interaction because I'll get Rhystic and that'll drop me interaction.
Yeah,
exactly. That's
I find out as Sisse is going to push on their next turn. We need a removal spell or we need a counter spell, and they go get a Rhystic. Okay, draw me into it. Like, that's not a really good argument.
Yeah.
Okay, but if in that specific scenario I'm tutoring for opposition agent.
Yeah, but Sisse was probably the worst deck to name in that situation because they don't have...
If a deck has a silver bullet, you tutor for the silver bullet.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right, people do... Like, I've done it before. I've very much said, I don't have anything here, whether or not I'm telling the truth. Can you force me into drawing more cards?
Yeah.
Can you feed me so we can try to answer this?
And, I feel like it's the brain-dead play to immediately go get Rhystic. Like, if you can think of no outs, then yeah, go get Rhystic. But if you can find an out or a win line, it's probably worth getting that win line in some sense or term. At least you have it for a future turn, right? Like, you're not locking yourself out of a game because you went to get a card and don't have.
But on the other hand, what happens a lot is you tutor for your win con. It gets to my turn. I'm like, hey guys, we need to be careful of Joseph. He just tutored. He didn't play anything with it. Unless he showed us what it was, he's probably going to try to win. We need to be cognizant of that.
Which is fair. Like, that's another thing. It also really depends on what turn it is.
It depends on a lot. There's so much. We're trying to nail this into heuristic, and
but I still think, I feel like if there's an Enlightened Tutor, 100% go get Rhystic or Smothering
Enlightened Tutor is a Rhystic study almost every time.
Or Smothering Tithe.
Yeah.
If it's
Or
a
if that's already
demonic
resolved,
tutor,
you go get breach.
yeah. If it's a
Yeah.
vampiric tutor, then it's like 50-50 win con Ristic for me.
Yeah.
And then if it's a demonic tutor, it's almost never a Ristic.
Hmm.
Just because like 5 mana to get Ristic out is a lot.
It is big time.
For Blue Farm, we have such good card advantage in the command zone. If I'm sitting with Mirror Maid or Steel Enchantment in my hand, and there's no target for it, I feel pretty safe because I'm going to beat the table in card advantage anyways.
That's true. Yeah.
That's another part of it. It's not a dead card.
Oh, so you don't run this, but another thing for Steel Enchantment is Born Upon the Wind, Steel Enchantment, the
Underworld
Breach, and then just go off on top.
You're
Oh my
gonna
god!
love my
I
next
know what
one.
I want to do with my next tournament. Oh my god!
All right,
Do I
Kevin,
still
I've
have
got
Steel
something for you in
Enchantment?
the next tournament for you both. Any deck that runs both blue for instant speed wins and white with silence effects should cut Born Upon a Wind or Valley Floodcaller for more interaction so you can have a better chance of winning on your turn.
No. Why
Strong-
win on your
strong
turn
disagree.
when you can win on somebody else's turn?
Well, because with all the silence effects, especially Great Voice of Victory that came out,
Sure.
I'd rather have more interaction to stop someone else from winning and then just win on my turn with the silence
Sure.
effects.
I don't disagree with that, but there is a lot of times where you lose to play order. And I know Kevin has been in this situation, I have been in this situation, you have been in this situation. Like, there's times where your Ristic strategy has drawn you 20 cards, but your opponents are taking 20 minutes for their turn, and time is called the turn before you get a chance to win.
Yep.
Like, I think flash effects are really hard to cut.
I've considered running Emergent Zone in Blue Farm, even though the mana color is so intensive in that deck, because it's just it lets you go off on top of other people. Going off on top of someone else means they put their Thoracle on the stack, no one responds. He has an empty library, just the Thoracle trigger on the stack. You know they're going to win. You know no one has interaction. That's when then you go off on top of them and you win on top of their win.
Yeah.
It is.
And with silence effects, like, yeah, I get where you're coming from in the
Silence is
sense
interaction
of,
in and of itself.
no, he's talking about like Grand Abolisher and Voice of Victory,
Yeah.
where you
Oh,
have
cutting
the,
Grand Abolisher and Voice of Victory for... Yeah, I could see cutting, because I play...
No, I'm saying not cut it.
no,
You cut
not
the
because of
instant
them
speed
cutting
wins.
flash speed, because you don't need it. Like, they are Dombo in a sense.
It can be another counter spell to help resolve your Grand Abolisher resolve, or to stop counter spell their breach when a Born Upon a Wind's just dead in hand, right?
So you're saying you should run Grand Abolisher over silence effects? Like a silence or
Well,
Worm's Chant?
No,
You're always
he's
going to
saying
run Grand Abolisher. I'm saying
Over
cut
flash
say,
effects.
flash effects for a snapback or
Or a
another
silence?
counterspell.
Or... Okay. Yeah, I think
Which
you'd
one?
still rather go off on top. Like I have... In my deck, I run Grand Abolisher, Voice of Victory, Ranger Captain, Silence, and I'm considering adding Orm's Chant. I might take out, like, one of them for like a Grand Abolisher for an Orm's Chant.
Considering Orms too as well. Ranger
The
Captain
instant-
actually on my cutting block. I'm not a
Instant
fan of
speed
that.
silence is so freaking good.
Yeah, in my Turbo Kenrith, because the color pips are so hard, I can't run Grand Abolisher or Ranger Captain. So I've been using also Defense Grid, and I was debating on putting Orm's Chant in because it is a viable solution in a sense.
The thing with Orm's Chant is you only stop one person. Orm's Chant is much better used stopping someone else's win than pushing your own.
Yeah, it's offensive.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a ton of pods I've been in recently where it's 2 non-blue decks, me and somebody else.
It can be a
Yeah.
good bait. I'm going to put it in because I figured, like, say there's one player. because
Silence
you
is
don't
also,
get-
you're right, a very good bait spell. Absolutely.
Or even
Yeah,
the
and it's
chant.
also
Yep.
like say
it's also like such a good piece of interaction when you're like, okay, this person has 20 cards from Heuristic and nobody else has any cards in their hand. That's the only person I care about.
Yeah,
That's true.
say you're not running steel enchantment in your deck for some reason, so you let the other Ristics players.
So you're not running this niche card for some reason.
So
You
niche.
try to Orium's chant them, uh, it gets countered, and then you follow up with a silence or a grand abolish. It's the bait card.
I just want to Orange Chant you on your turn so you can't cast Steel Enchantment on my wrist deck. New goals in life.
All right.
Do you have another question there, Andrew?
Yes. So I guess I should preface this with I was listening to a podcast and someone said if the I don't know what the math is on this, but if the games go long, like I guess turn 5, 6, 7, player in seat 3 and 4 has a better chance to win than 1 and 2. I don't know if it's like players that try to win second get more likely to win or something, but I heard that there's stats for that. I don't know. But anyways, so that thought made me think about with first win attempts usually getting stopped and second win attempts more likely to win. Sometimes in games you see people like mulligan too far to like 5 or 4 and just mulligan themselves out of the game. People should mulligan less aggressively and just try to survive, especially if you're in third or fourth seat. Don't mulligan so aggressively.
I think there is an art to the mulligan, and it really depends on your deck. If you're playing a turbo deck like Rogsai or the deck that I was playing for, actually I've been playing a turbo deck for the better of 3 to 4 months now, between Atali and Turbo Kenrith. Those decks purposely mulligan low because you have to. It's your whole game plan. And like the argument is maybe your game plan shouldn't be turbo, but it is a factor of are you going to statistically win more games playing fast or playing slow? And right now I'm finding I win more games playing fast. So I heavily mulligan because I'm counting to 7 or I'm trying to find an early win. And I don't think that is necessarily a downfall to me. Yes, do I lose games because of it? Sure. But I also win or draw more games because I found a better hand than keeping a turn 2 Ristic study or a turn 3 Ristic.
It is very pod dependent.
It is also very pod dependent.
But I have no problem mulliganing low, especially if I'm looking for a card advantage engine. Like a turn 2 Ristic or turn 2 Timna. I find that very valuable.
I know, Andrew, you're very against mulliganing, and I don't not hate that strategy for you, but at the same time, for me, I need a game plan for my hand, and I don't always... I mulligan because I don't see one.
Yeah, I guess I should start that with... I started with AC, easy deck to mulligan for. You just want some lands and some ramp, which the deck was full of. Joyra, just artifacts, ramp to Joyra artifacts. It was easy. Mm-hmm. Kinnan, mana dorks, mana. You don't want to, obviously, Kinnan's such a huge target, so you don't want an explosive start sometimes. Like, you'll just get targeted more. Blue Farm, I am mulliganing a lot more aggressively, I find. There is a difference.
Yeah.
It is harder to mulligan for that, yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, I can keep a hand with one piece of interaction, a card advantage, and a couple lands, and a plan, right? That's your goal. Is like, the dream is having a couple tutors in hand and in pieces of interaction.
I've got 2 more. With the rise of Izzet, Vivi, Ral, Stella, Karksak, Shima, the decline of Dimir, Talion or Yurko, Simic is the best 2-color combo thanks to Kinnan. What do you think's the 2 best colors?
The CEDH. 2 best colors in CEDH?
Yeah.
So I'm going counter to that. Is it
even a question?
I still think it's Dimir. Dimir is the best color combination. The best deck in the format is Blue Farm.
Yeah.
Blue Farm does not.
We can all agree on that, I think. 2 of us play it.
And blue and black are the main colors in those decks. Like, the first shock that you play in that deck is Watery Grave. Hands down. There's no argument on if you have to play a shock, which shock you play. It's Watery Grave.
Well, Surveil land now, but yeah, basically.
Actually, I've been finding myself Tundra a lot more. Tundra
is also not bad, but I think it's still Watery Grave. You probably run both. If you're running Hollow Fountain, you're probably running
I am on both. Yeah, I am on
Yeah.
Combo Town.
Dimir has been. It's not the best single deck 2-color combo, obviously.
Yeah.
When you're getting down to a single 2-color deck, then it is Simic because Kinnan is just a busted card.
Cannon is too good to ignore here.
Yeah.
There's a reason Demir decks don't put up results. You see Urigo sometimes, but you don't really see Italian anymore. You don't see other just straight Demir decks because it's just not. They don't hold up. Demir's a control color, and control in CDH is incredibly difficult to play.
Yeah. I am in the spot where I'm looking at a 3-color deck as more preferable in my eyes. And when you get to 3-color decks, my argument is Kinnan's really only good because of one, not one card, but because of one idea. And I think one card kind of makes Simic a really good deck, and that's Thrasios. I think Thrasios is in Kinnan. It's one of the main win cons in Kinnan.
Yeah.
Make infinite mana with Kinnan, draw your deck with Thrasios. But it also makes these Cradle farm decks. The key component to those Cradle farm decks is Thrasios. I think it's one of the most powerful commanders, period.
Arguably one of the most powerful cards printed in the last 10 years.
Yeah. I think I don't disagree that Simic is strong. I think Izzet is very niche. Like, Vivi and Ral can definitely have their place in the format, but they're very hard to play within another deck. Kinnan can be slotted in other decks fairly easily. It's in my Kenrith deck. Vivi is a little more easier to slot into random decks than Ral is. And I haven't not seen Ral be slotted in.
I think Ral is a
Vivi puts
commander.
work in,
Ral is only a commander. I don't think you're because Ral is
I've
like
seen it in play. It goes in the Vivi deck.
I haven't seen it in the VV deck, but I could see it going in the VV deck.
I've definitely seen it.
I think the other thing too is the Izzet commanders are very one-dimensional. You are probably storming off or doing some storm BS, whereas Kinnan you can take into a mid-range, or you can go like with you. There's a lot of different directions you can take Kinnan, even in the same deck. The same deck can run 2 or 3 very different win cons, right?
Also, honorable mentions. I do think there are viable non-blue 2-color decks of Atali, Obnixilis. I've seen come back in Resurgence.
Obnix has received a kickstart, absolutely.
Yeah, Rakdos has destroyed me sometimes.
The Rakdos the muscle, yeah.
Yeah.
I've played against it twice. I don't see it being good.
Yeah, I don't think it's good, but it's...
I haven't played a good game against it.
Yeah. I've seen Selesnya also kind of like block me out of a game.
Yep, big time. Selesnya stacks, very good deck.
Another one is leads me into this when we were talking about Thrasios. For almost all CDH, I mean, I haven't played CDH that long, but I heard TNT was really strong. Icky made a resurgence, but TNT to Blue Farm, partners have always been really strong, kind of define CDH in a way. I think the advantage of starting with 2 commanders in your command deck, you should start with 6 cards instead of 7 for mulligans. You can still look at 7 and put 1 back. I think to try and balance.
That is very hard to regulate. I don't think that would be a viable rule. I get where you're coming from.
I don't think it's hard to regulate. I think it's like you just change the reminder text to the text it has now, plus you start the game with your starting hand size is 6, not 7.
I'm on the line where I think Tymna probably should be banned from the format.
Tymna?
Yeah, I think Tymna is the strongest partner commander, period.
I would disagree and say Thrasios is the strongest partner commander.
Sure. Blue Farm.
It definitely has a problem where any infinite mana combo, you just draw your deck.
Sure. I don't not like disregard that.
Just having a combo outlet in the command zone is better than having just a couple cards to turn in the command zone.
It's always been like this argument where like the best deck, like I said, is by far Blue Farm. It is almost incomparable. It has hundreds upon hundreds of people playing it. It has been the top deck on EDH Top 16 pretty consistently for
At least
the
8
whole
months.
2 years that I've been playing.
Yeah. At
so.
or near the top in that time. Yep.
Yeah.
It is renowned as the best deck, and everybody knows it. And Timna's also in the second best deck. Well, at one point, not right now, but Timna was in TNT, and that was the best deck back in a few years ago. None of us really played back then, but it was renowned as the best deck. I think Timna is a big problem, but I don't think it necessarily needs to go right now, but I wouldn't be unhappy if it did.
I think we also can't overestimate the I guess confirmation bias almost, or that's not the right bias, but there is a bias toward people looking at the top deck, looking at the format, saying, "Oh, people say this is a clear top deck. I'm going to make this deck because people say it's a top deck."
And then
For
they
sure.
go into it.
Like in terms of win percentage and top, like conversion percentage, I don't think it's the top deck in conversion percentage, but I can check.
Conversion percentage gets really wonky because you get these off meta decks a lot.
Yeah, you get, say, some bad players, just new players playing Blue Farm because they hear it's the best.
Right
That's
now,
true. That
for
also knocks
conversion,
on the
3 months. Right now, for the last 3 months with 60-person tournaments, it's the second best deck for conversion.
What's the best deck for conversion?
Rogside technically,
Side?
but there's only 29 top cuts with 24% win.
And those are both
conversion
some
rate.
really good pilots on those rug sides that are.
And it's
Rogs-
it's
yeah.
0.6% difference right now.
Okay. Yeah, but I think there's definitely the bias, like I said, of people looking at it and just building the strongest decks so that there's more entries.
Okay,
I
so
don't,
the
I don't
question is,
disagree with bias, but
I think to balance it out, like something, partners always been as a mechanic, like the top deck in CDH has pretty much always been partners. Do you think they should have shared commander tax? So if your Timna dies early, your Crom
Shared commander tax is
That-
definitely a thing.
I think shared commander tax actually is spicy.
That basically means you're paying 3 for Timna and 7
7.
for Crom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That might be spicy,
I think that's
but it's so late to kind of do that. But it's not.
yeah, either that or to go back to your original question of should you start with 6 cards in hand. That's I think actually a fairly reasonable solution.
Would that be a better nerf to the deck than shared commander tax?
Do you get a free mulligan on 6?
Yeah, so you would treat it as your first mulligan is free whether or not, like let's say your first mulligan is free whether or not you're on 6 or 7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, do you change that text with companions as well?
No, because companions have a deck building restriction, a massive deck building restriction when you're talking about trying
Sure.
to play as competitive as you can.
That's valid. That's valid.
In fact, the only one that didn't loot tree was banned immediately before it was legal. But
Yeah,
I
that's fine.
definitely think the partner commanders could have 6 cards in hand. And think of the disadvantage you are at when you mulligan to 6. Just mulliganing to 6. In a 4-player game, it's a little less intense, but in a regular 2-player game of Magic, the disparity is huge.
I think going in 4th seat with a 6-card hand is not viable. You're basically destroying the odds of a deck by putting it to 6 cards as its starting hand. It's probably just not playable at that point.
You're then you're also taking starting position into account. And how do we solve the starting position problem? I think that's a great question for next time.
Yeah, that's a separate issue.
That's a
Starting
20 to
position.
25-minute discussion on its own. Is how do we solve the seat problem in CDH?
But it's just
I
partners
don't
has
think there
been
is a
strong
seat.
forever. I think something should be
there's
done
a seat
to work
problem.
for balance.
I know there's a seat problem. I don't think there's a good solution.
There's something
Drive
thrown out
solution,
there.
That's good. It's
I don't.
But again, we can talk about that next time.
Yeah. If anyone is going to Orangeville or Forbes, we'll see you there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
say hi. Tell us about the podcast. We'd like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, would love to hear. We're still gathering feedback and changing things as we go. But
We're
thanks
new
for
to
listening.
this. This is a new thing for all of us.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
big
one
time.
day we'll get some hats or something. We'll go to a tournament with some hats or T-shirts. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for everyone for tuning in. We should mention the tournaments on the weekend of the 25th, 26th. It's just to like promote these tournaments. We don't know if we're gonna go to them or not. There's no commitment there.
Yeah, sure. And join our Discord.
Oh yeah, we have a Discord.
Yes.
Yeah, I should probably put the link in the episode description this time.
Yeah, you definitely didn't the first time.
Definitely didn't the first time.
We're pretty new to this. We're
Yeah, there's a learning curve, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 25th is Woodstock. And November 8th is also Woodstock. 26th is Mecca Games in St. Catharines.
I'm definitely doing the 25th. I'm free.
I would have to
I
book
need
a
to.
game off. I would have to book some time off that weekend, but you gotta try qualify, so it makes sense you're gonna be there.
I need to qualify.
If I
I'm
win-
100%.
yes, you've got to qualify for that. Oh yeah. I'm aiming for the 25th for Woodstock. We'll see how it goes. I should be there. What else?
St. Catharines is far for you, though.
Yeah, I won't make that one. I've never gone
Yeah.
to that. It's pretty far.
Again, I only could do one weekend. The 25th will be the week.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm unsure on the last weekend of the month, October 25th and 26th, but I'm definitely going to both this weekend. So if you go to a tournament, I'll see you there. I'm Kevin. Say hi. Call me out when I get salty. I deserve it. Thanks for thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. On Kenrith, that's your main one now?
Yeah, I have a mighty collection of Kenriths.
Almost every one.
Yeah, just missing serialized, which a little out of my budget right now. So that's why a judge should be called, is because they have to give at least a warning, if not consequences, if it's a continuous.
Or if they determine that this is specifically cheating, which is really hard to do.
Yeah, forgetting packed is like one of those things that happens. Especially if you packed to turn after yours and have to wait 3 turns and have no
Yeah,
representation.
especially and if there's like a 20-minute turn in there or something, you might just forget.
I think that's
but
what
It's super
happened.
easy to forget.
One of the players got eliminated. It might have been a Final Four. It was a long time ago. I don't remember. But yeah, it was interesting how it's like, just because he remembered, wanted it, hoping I forget it, couldn't pay it. Go through the turn. It would have been a.
The other part about calling a judge is that game rule violation stuff and like patterns stack up. Even if it's over multiple tournaments, if a judge sees a pattern, they'll take more harsh action when they start seeing a pattern. It's absolutely worth calling a judge for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, we see the same people every weekend. They're going to remember it. There's no real benefit.
I kind of just want to play against these really good players that have.
I do too.
podcasts.
That's Andrew. You need to join the Critical CEDH League. Honestly, like, if you want to play against good players, that's how you play against good players. Kevin gets pub stomped every day.
Bitch, what?
Am I wrong?
No.
I know. I'm kidding. Okay. So let's start.
Yeah, start her off.